remember when Mike Hussey came into Australian cricket, the thing that almost got him a shot in Australia in the one day was his running between wickets. That might sound like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, but it's actually, you watch Ashton Turner, the way he runs between wickets is unbelievable. He's such a great athlete. It puts so much pressure, and one of the hallmarks of great Australian teams, you think about Dean Jones and Michael Bevan and Michael Hussey is the running. It's a basic, but he does that. He's also been talking about getting players who can finish off innings, and he's shown that particularly in what we can go off in Big Bash cricket. He's in great form. He finishes off the innings well. He's a lead athlete in the field, and he's also a captain. So you've got to really, you see the way he finishes off the innings, that he's a good thinker of the game, like most of the great finishers, and really good leader, good person around the group. Very excited to see him come in.
In terms of Mitch Marsh, can you talk us through what's wrong, and I suppose also for him and Sean, leaving him out of the test squad, how hard is that, and did you sort of break the news to them?
Yeah, first thing he's got gastritis, so he spent 2 days in hospital. So we're going to just have to wait and see how he goes. He certainly won't play this first game, and we'll just wait and see how he recovers. So in terms of leaving them out, of course, these decisions are tough, but that's what leadership's about, that you've got to make tough calls. You guys have heard me say before, I've known them since they're kids. Jeff Marsh is one of my best friends, which makes it hard. He's also been a coach with me in West Australian cricket. So there's that. But at the end of the day, we all know, that the boys know, and Swampy knows, that this is a tough business, and if you're not performing, you don't get selected. And that's how that decision came about.
Justin, how's the feeling around the squad at the moment? Not just people like the Marshes who've been dropped from the test team, but it's been a tough year in one days and in tests. You know, how's the team feeling, and how are you supporting them?
Yeah, look, well, obviously confidence is a great thing. You've got to earn, like respect, you've got to earn confidence. But overall, I mean, the guys are working really hard and they're going okay. I think the first innings of Melbourne and Sydney, honestly, I don't know how you guys felt about it, almost sucked the life out of us, because when you're in the field for 2 days with the world's best spin bowler and 3 elite young fast bowlers, and you spend 2 days, of course it takes energy out of the group, and that's natural. And they try, anyone in this room who thinks that those guys didn't have a red hot dip at it, I mean, and any of the critics out there who don't, they're kidding themselves. I mean, these are the best off-spin bowler in the world, 3 outstanding young fast bowlers, and if you're out in the field for 2 days against an outstanding Pujara and an outstanding Virat Kohli, well, it takes some actual physical and mental energy out. But overall, they're all working hard. There's new players and there's some new staff for these next 3 games, so that automatically brings energy to the group. And so from that point of view, that we're really looking forward to the next 3 one-days.
Justin, with Burns, Renshaw and Pucovski, it looked like 3 batsmen fighting for 2 positions. Is it right to look at it as a bit of a bat-off in that CA11 game, or you'd almost have to presume that Renshaw would have to go pretty well, wouldn't he? Because he hasn't made a lot of runs in Shield cricket this year. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll work. That's a really great opportunity for us. I think the more, I guess, prestige we can put into that CA11, and you can see by the way we've selected that team that it's more like a second 11, and it gives guys opportunities, and it's against Sri Lanka, it's under lights, and yeah, you could say it's a bat-off, and that's great. And if people think there's pressure in that, that's great, because when you get to Test cricket, there's a lot more pressure than batting for a spot in the team. And it's one of the things about Matt Renshaw. Hopefully, his selection this last little period for him is a brilliant lesson for a young player who he knows is a very good player, and he will hopefully learn the lesson that if you're in the lead up to the Ashes, he probably got a bit sidetracked about getting selected for the Ashes. In the lead up to this Indian tour, he probably got a bit sidetracked by getting selected. And what happens when you do that? We've been there. I had dinner with Steve Waugh the other night. We talked about a young Steve Waugh. When you get sidetracked by the future or selection, you forget to keep your eyes on the ball and be good at what you are, which is a batsman. So for Matt coming in, we know he's a good player, and a great lesson should be learned for a young batsman about, like all our players, think about now, and then the future will look after itself. And it's no different to that CA11 game. It's a great opportunity for guys to think about that game and selection will look after itself. If they get sidetracked by getting selected in the test team, the chance of them of performing are probably are certainly lessened, and that's mental toughness. That's the sort of thing that we like to see, that the guys are learning lessons and performing when pressure, all different pressures come on.
What do you like about Pucovski? Because we haven't seen a lot of him, have we?
No, there's a couple of things. I remember a couple of years, I think he played under 17s and 19s tournament, and he scored 300 or 400s on the trot.
Was in the 19?
19s, yeah, maybe 2 years ago. And I kept hearing his name come up. He scored hundreds, and so he's obviously has learned the ability to score hundreds. He's played his 200s. One was 180, one was 200, a big 200. He scored a 200 against Western Australia in a second 11 game, maybe last year or the year before. So the ability to score runs is what I like about Will Pucovski. He had a very simple technique. I think he's got from my understanding, he's got great vision of what he wants to achieve in red ball cricket, which tells me he's got some hunger and he's got some ability, and he's got some performances on the board. He's a good young player. We're not bringing him because he's just a good young player. We're a talented player who's shown the ability to score hundreds at all different levels.
Sam?
Justin, can you just talk us about why the selectors brought back Nathan Lyon and how you see Lyon and Sampa working together?
Yeah, look, Nathan Lyon's record in white ball cricket's very, very good in all different aspects, and he's also the best. It would seem, to me, it would seem a waste of an opportunity with a person like Nathan who's bowling so well not to play him in white ball cricket, particularly with the World Cup coming up. And he's jumping. He's also a gun fieldsman. He's got himself nice and fit. He's like a little whippet in the field. He's a very good fielder, and he's the best spin bowler in the world at the moment. So it'd be a wasted opportunity not to have him in white ball cricket for us. Can't wait to see how he goes, and he's really excited about it.
Just him and Sampa working together?
Yeah, there might be opportunities. We go to India and UAE after this, in the next sort of 1 days leading up to the World Cup. There might be opportunities for them both to play together. We might look at it. It perhaps changes a bit with Mitch Marsh. We could have had maybe the two medium pace options as the extra quicks. That might change now a little bit. We might have a look at it. Yeah, there's no reason why. A lot of teams around the world are doing it. It's usually there's no doubt India will do it against us. So. Something we'll have a look at. It'd be good to a leg spinner, off spinner. Glenn Maxwell bowls off spin as well. So yeah, we'll have some good combinations there, I think.
Justin, where does Glenn Maxwell stand in the red ball stuff at the moment? There's been a lot of conjecture as to whose sort of messaging it was for him to not take up that county deal ahead of the A Series last year. Can you just talk through who's and why that was sort of a directive?
Yeah. Glenn is crystal clear from me and the selectors what he needs to do to get back in the test team. He's crystal clear, and we've shown he's brilliant around the group in white ball cricket. There's been some reports about personality. It is literally false. It's not true. He's crystal clear what he has to do, and that's important that he knows that, and I know that as the coach and one of the selectors. And all the conjecture about it, that's all part of the noise. So Glenn knows exactly what he has to do.
Sure, but what about the second part of that question and the county deal? Obviously, he wanted to go over there, play some red ball cricket, was told, you're not coming on the A tour and then not going to the UAE. Can you understand maybe why he's a little bit confused?
Are you certain that's what happened?
I'm asking.
Are you certain that's what happened?
I'm asking Justin.
What are you asking?
I'm asking who gave the directive. Trevor Hon said he wasn't aware of such a directive. I'm asking who on the selection panel did say that to Glenn.
Did it happen?
That's my question.
Well, you're telling me it did happen. I'm asking you, did it happen? I'm asking you're asking me, I'm asking, did it happen?
So you have no knowledge of that being said to Glenn or his management or anything like that?
No, I've got zero knowledge of that.
Thank you.
No worries.
In terms of
Careless whispers, eh?
in terms of both the World Cup and Ashes, just sort of how many spots are open? Like if you're picking a team now, how many guys can fill? And obviously, sort of it's related to Steve and David and possibly Cameron being there, but how many can fill?
Sorry for getting grumpy too. There's just so much. I don't like getting grumpy, but there's so many stories that go around about so much stuff, you know. It's, oh, mate. So sorry everyone for getting grumpy. I didn't mean to get grumpy. We can talk about it after, but the truth is a beautiful thing. So anyway, sorry. What were we talking about?
How many guys can feel confident that they're locked in for the Ashes and World Cup?
You'd like to think that no one ever feels confident they're locked in. It's every single game's an opportunity, but we've got a really clear plan of how we want to play our one-day cricket from now and to try and win the World Cup and selection. There's some, you know, hopefully we've shown that with some of our selection. We're resting some of our bowlers for this series, so there's great opportunities for some of our fast bowlers. Great opportunity for Nathan Lyon, one of our most senior players. There's some opportunities for the batsmen there. I think there's 10 or 12 games before we get to the World Cup. There's 15 games before we get to the World Cup of ODI and T20 cricket. So awesome opportunities, and then we pick the side after that. So as always, we'll be looking to prepare well and pick the team that hopefully will win the World Cup.
And in terms of, sorry, just the test fast bowlers, like, what did you make of their sort of performance? How unhappy or unhappy were you with them in terms of Melbourne and Sydney and sort of, yeah, like what? I honestly, as you were just saying, they had a red hot dip at what they did, and that's all you can ask from the boys. They had Pujara's series was, I've never seen a batsman watch the ball as closely as he does, and that includes Sachin, it includes Rahul Dravid. His concentration was elite, so they were challenged, and that's another, like a young Matt Renshaw, it's a really great lesson for those guys that we've got to keep getting better. Every one of us have to keep getting better. The results show that, but no, I was pleased with the way they went. I think they copped some pretty strong criticism throughout the series, but on two very, very flat wickets, they kept running in hard, they kept having a go, they kept having a crack, and in this instance, they were beaten by some, like we were, the team was beaten by a brilliant Indian, so we were beaten by a better side, and that includes our batsmen and our bowlers. We were beaten by a better side. That's okay. We've just got to get better, don't we? India 4 years ago, we've just got to get better, and it's okay to get beaten by a better side, and in this instance, they were better than us. We've got to get better. We're crystal clear of the direction we're taking, and I've had it my whole life in Australian cricket. We get up and we keep getting better. We keep rolling our sleeves up. We keep getting better, despite all the distractions, and there's lots of them. We keep getting better, and that includes the three fast bowlers. It includes every player who's played this game. It includes every coach. We've got to keep getting better because India have showed us why they're the best team in the world. Everyone aspires to be the best in the world, and we've got to get better.
Sri Lanka's coming off two big losses, New Zealand and England. How confident does that make you going into this test, and what will it mean if Australia doesn't perform?
It's a bit like the batsmen or the bowlers. If we start getting worried about what might happen, then we take our eyes off what we're trying to do. We've take some good lessons out of this series. We'll keep sticking to into our plans. We've got really good plans. We didn't execute them as well as we would have liked to this series. If we stick to our plans, we've got a very good cricket team. We've got some new batters coming through. They all know how to play. And yeah, we can't be worried about what might happen. We'll just keep doing what we're doing and building that confidence, earning that confidence. That's really important.
Just historically, 4 or 5 months out from the World Cup, you'd almost imagine the Australian one-day squad looking very settled. Do you think you have enough time to just get your head around what that squad will look like when you travel to England? Do you have a rough idea in your mind?
Yeah, of course. We think about these things every single day. That's our job. We've been planning this for a long time. Our results over the last 2 or 3 years have been not what we're used to in Australian cricket. So you plan this every day. We literally think about this stuff every single day. We know what the guys are doing, the perfect team we'd like to have for England. The schedule makes it really hard to have them together all the time, but over a little bit, the next few months, we'll start getting a group of players together and building up towards the World Cup. But you've got a really clear
idea who we'd like to have, but we'll just have to wait and see how that works out.
Yeah, Justin, India coming off an historic Test series win. How do you think they're going to front up for the one-day series? What are you expecting?
Oh, look, having been in India's shoes in 2004, where we finally beat India in Nagpur, and it was without doubt the Mount Everest moment of my life, of my cricket career. So to beat India in India was after losing in 2001, and then to finally win into, I've said it forever, that was the Mount Everest moment of my career. So they've probably, for most of them, I'm sure for Virat, he's just reached that. And he'll know that when you get to the top, there's still plenty of good things that are on the way down, but that's where they'll be cock a hoop. But we've got plenty to fight for. I'm sure India, not only a good Test team, they've got a very good one-day team. We're up against it. Let's just hope we're better than we were in the Test series.
Last one, Andrew.
Even before David and Steve weren't available for this period, the results in one-day cricket had dipped a bit. Are you confident going forward that you can formulate a batting lineup that can go well beyond that 300 mark, which now seems almost the bare minimum, and 350 is often required more? Do you think you have the players in Australia to do that?
Well, we have to have, if we're going to be successful, we have to have, if we haven't, we've got to keep developing it. We've got to keep getting better. We've certainly got the talent. We've got to keep getting better. That's the exciting thing for all of us at the moment. When you lose a series to India, it's the same as a player. When you get dropped or things are, actually at the time when you're going through it, I remember as a player, it's so disappointing and you can't see past the end of your nose, but looking back, they're the best periods of my life as a player because you had to get better. You literally had to get better, otherwise I don't get another chance to play Test cricket. It's the same with where we are in Australian cricket now. We've been beaten by India, led brilliantly by Virat, and they played really well, and that's okay. We got beaten by a better side. This is an unbelievable opportunity for us in Test cricket and one-day cricket to get better. We have to, and we have to look for scores at 300 or 350. We have to do that to compete, and in England we have to do that. So we've got the talent, now we've got to get the experience and the composure and the ability to do it under pressure and the ability to do it consistently. These are what we're all aspiring to, and that's all, like I say, it's one of the great lessons in the game.